After a week away, I am back. It is my fight show. I'm Mika Frankl. It's Tuesday night. It's a Cage Minds production coming off of Talk ABQ's assistance. You can catch up on the podcast all the time. If you miss it, the audio version, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We are live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Hope everyone is having a good evening. It's beautiful to be back. Was under the weather last week, so I'm really happy to be here. Huge week planned. Angel Gallegos, he's 3-0 as an 4-0, excuse me, coming off of last weekend as an amateur MMA fighter. Has a amateur title fight in the works. We're going to be talking with him. We have Anthony Hudson, Desert Dynasty head coach and promoter, coming off of his first event. And then March 22nd, APFC 22, back at Isleta Resort and Casino, defending his lightweight title, James Pleasant. He's going to be here to talk about Emmanuel Sanchez. I mean, that is a massive fight, getting to take on the Bellator vet. It was taken away due to sudden medical emergency for Sanchez. Pleasant is able to take on the short notice challenge of Jess Martinez, overcomes it, and is your APFC lightweight champion. Can't wait to talk with James here in a little bit. We're about 15 minutes away from Angel Gallegos, our first guest. Couldn't be doing this without the help of so many great people. The beard is in place thanks to Barbers R Us. Yeah, we got the beard balm right here, not just talking about it, but yeah, really promoting it, really using it. Barber Gabe's Fades, 100 Coors Boulevard, Lobo Plaza, Suite 107. Walk-ins are welcome. I'm sure they're filling up fast because it is Valentine's Day this weekend. Not many fights going on. You got Zuffa boxing on Sunday. We're going to talk about karate combat on Friday. Saturdays for the lovers. You want to look your best. You're going to get on into Barber Gabe's Fades to be able to have that come true and look your best this weekend. You pick up the beard balm if you're on the website and you're at barbergabesfades.net. That's where you're booking. That's where you're able to pick this up. Our guests that are coming on tonight, they are energized, and we are energized by Dubby. Go over to their website. It is 10% off with the checkout code Cage Minds to help support what we are doing. This past weekend, there was a thrill of tradition, and there was titles changing hands. The Southern Gentleman dethroning Pretty City Express of the Duke City Championship Wrestling Tag Team titles. Silas Mason getting one over on Hobo Hank. March 28th, you can be there live. It's Get It, Got It, Bueno. HoldMyTicket.com, El Rey Theater for Duke City Championship Wrestling, NWA New Mexico. Literally now, the NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, sending out their best, sending out their world champions to do battle with the best stars in professional wrestling that we have representing the 505 in downtown Boracay. Whole bunch of local events coming up. The calendar is stacking up when you think about Nowhere to Run. Amateur Kickboxing returns on March 14th. Cartel Clash 2 getting ready. Cartel Clash Desert Wars getting going. Shout out to Alex Solis and what's going on with the grappling realm. We have Fight World and APFC, a doubleheader weekend once again, Legacy Boxing Promotions already booking their next card. Abraham Pettis, Christian Cabral, Max Moya, Andreas Ray, Josh Pitbull Torres, the most notable boxers that New Mexico and Albuquerque has to offer, going to be in action again in the beginning of April. So a lot going on locally as the calendar's starting to fill out. Nationally, this past weekend, crazy busy, and it's the kings of the sport that really make it worthwhile. Who are the champions? Who are the best? Who are the people that are drawing the attention? Well, PFL trying to make some sense of what they have going on. And when we say some sense, there's been tournament winners, there's been season winners. Have there been world champions really decided? PFL in Dubai, lightweight title on the line. Usman Nurmagomedov once again solidifying himself as the top lightweight outside of the UFC, making it look pretty gosh dang easy with his dismantling of Alfie Davis. Alfie Davis had a magical run, and it now leaves the huge question: did Gazid Rajibov just make a fatal error by not wrestling Alfie Davis? It was entertaining on the feet, but Usman was applying the pressure, and Davis was frantically looking for a counter. When that counter did not come to fruition, you had Usman able to get in on the takedown, and it was an inverted from the back head and arm choke. Extra points, extra kudos on the creativity on the submission. That's something that you normally see get done in a high-level grappling match. Not really something that you see completed in MMA. The head and arm choke from the back, getting the technical submission. Alfie Davis going to sleep in the third round. Usman Nurmagomedov, he solidifies himself with this title. He is just an absolute monster at this moment. How he has ran through the lightweight division, how he has made shells of the best that Bellator had to offer and the PFL. It now looks like there is one fight left on Usman Nurmagomedov's PFL contract. I'm pretty sure there's nothing they can do in the PFL to keep Usman around. I think that we are very quickly going to see that one fight happen. He will sit out, wait his opportunity, bide his time, and then make his way into the UFC. Not sure automatically when I stack it up if I'm taking Usman Nurmagomedov versus the top 10. I don't know if I'm that bullish yet. But to see what he's done, Bellator and the PFL, there was a point where we questioned what Justin Gaethje could do. Manuel Torres, Beneil Dariush, Rafael Fiziev, Hanato Moicano. I think I'm comfortable somewhere with Dan Hooker to say Usman Nurmagomedov, ready, willing, able, definitely top 10 in the world caliber. And I would be highly intrigued to see him make that crossover. And I believe there's nothing that the PFL will be able to do to keep him happy and to keep him on their roster, in their system, rather than, let me go and complete the vision. Let me now follow in the path of Makhachev and my cousin Habib. It looks like, as far-fetched as it could be, this gym, this lineage really has an opportunity to produce 3 legendary lightweights in a row, a feat that almost seemed laughable. It seemed like a fable, if you will, nearly, but the success is paramount right now. Not to make sense, the success is evident. It was startling how a guy who, yes, it was an out of nowhere run to the finals, and Alfie Davis just got mauled. I figured Usman would win. Extra credit for the style points. Co-main event, Ramazan Magmedov defeats Shamil Musafayev, unanimous decision. It's 48-46 across the board. First 3 rounds, the wrestling, the pressure. Ramazan Kurmagomedov adds to his LFA, adds to his Bellator titles, a PFL world title. It was 2 years to get him back in the cage. It was 2 years of inactivity from the PFL while they try to sort out what was going on. And as Dan Hardy doing the Joe Rogan, doing the post-fight interview deal, is asking Kurmagomedov about winning the title, completing this great journey, getting back to action. You're looking at Thad Gene Cage side, the 2025 tournament winner, heck of a welterweight young prospect in himself. How excited are you to fight this young man to get this ball rolling? Kurmagomedov announces startlingly a retirement. This may also be coming from someone that ate an illegal knee while he was down, and it looked that knee might have shattered his arm. 2 years away, 14-0, absolute great first 3 rounds, overwhelming Shamil Musafayev, looking like a guy that could be a real building block at welterweight for the PFL. Another hard one for the PFL is their welterweight champion immediately retires. It was 2 years on the sideline. He did come back and he accomplished this. Maybe it's 2 years on the sideline and you're not sure how much your heart's into it. 2 years on the sideline, you're not sure how much your body is able to make that feat one more time. But heck of a championship winning effort from Kurmagomedov. Shamalat Isbaulov, if you don't know the name, he's worth knowing. Now 10-0 and absolutely crushed in 1 round Jesus Pineda. Jesus Pineda made it to the finals of the PFL featherweight tournament, had won a PFL featherweight tournament, only lost this last one to Movit Khaibulov. And Khaibulov, that fight ends up becoming a no contest due to a positive PED test. And Isbaulov shows his wrestling, dumps Pineda on his head, and just elbowed his skull into oblivion. Huge victory for what looks like a now budding contender in the PFL featherweight division. We also had Romani, the heavyweight, go to 6-0, submitting Carl Williams, an arm triangle would look like from the wrong side of the body in the second round. We need more heavyweights, and the PFL at least has one they can get excited about. Armar Magmedov, 10-0, 37-second knockout. A lot of people are really excited about him. A lot of people in the Southwest are also getting excited because Angel Gallegos is making waves. He's finishing fighters. We got to have a one-on-one interview with him before his last fight. A couple more wins now. He's back in the mix, and he's joining us right now. How you doing tonight, sir?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing good. Here talking today. Started off everything with talking about Usman Nurmagomedov and his dominance in the PFL. I'm not sure if you got to see that on Saturday morning.
Yup, I did. He beat Alfie Davis.
Dude, that was a rare submission. I was ultra impressed because you don't really see the head and arm choke from the back in MMA. You'll see that in some jiu-jitsu competitions, but that was quite impressive.
Yeah, he's a bad dude, man. I think I'd like to see him get in the UFC for sure. Think he could make a splash at 155 in there.
It's like you were just listening to me because I was just bringing up that I read he has 1 fight left with the PFL, and I'm pretty sure that means there's no way he's re-signing with them. He will be UFC bound by 2027.
I think so too. I think that was the plan. I think Islam going up to 170. Now let's bring Usman in there and get another bout at 155.
Are those some of the guys that you watch, that you study, that you look into to try to kind of emulate?
Yeah, definitely for sure. All of Khabib's team, man. Every single one of those dudes. I like watching all those dudes. Ilya Taporia, I've been pretty high on him since he beat Ryan Hall. And yeah, man, that 155 division is on fire. But 145 too. I like watching those 45ers, Volk. Um, yeah, UFC has a lot of good fights coming
Who
up.
who is it that are your favorite guys to just sit there currently right now and be a fan of?
For sure, Ilya Taporia. That dude, I mean, he has power in his hands. And I think we haven't really seen his wrestling, but I think he has really good wrestling just from what I've seen, being able to defend all those takedowns from Ryan Hall. Um, Even Charles put him up against the cage a little bit. If you watch some of his early fights, he was really a wrestler, submitting all these dudes, and he developed those hands and just started knocking everyone out.
Is that something that kind of also you see in yourself? Because we've seen you now, a little bit of that same style, trying to put the guys on the fence. Ilya Taporia use that boxing and light them up. Talking about, we see some of the highlights that you have on Instagram, and it looks a little bit Ilya Taporia esque.
Yeah, no, 100%. I appreciate that, man. I think I got really good boxing. Um, and I've been knocking all these dudes out. But I think in this last fight, I really wanted to show that I'm not just a boxer. I'm a mixed martial artist, and I was able to control this dude on the mat the whole entire time, and there was not 1 second of that fight where I was ever in danger, or I don't think he won 1 second of that fight. I completely dominated him on the ground, and I was able to do anything that I wanted to him.
I've only read it. I haven't seen it, but I read it.
Yeah.
Calf slicer? Did you hit
Yep.
a calf slicer?
Yes, sir.
All right, you got to, as much as you can, talk us through how you set that up and how that plays out. Because again, we're going with that's a pretty spectacular submission.
For sure. Yeah. So, I mean, the game plan. I don't know if you know, but I have a title fight in March 14th for Empire. I'll be fighting another undefeated prospect, Alexis Ortiz. So, the game plan. I've been finishing everyone in the first round. So this fight, with Alexis Ortiz, this is a dude that he's on my radar. I see how good he is. And I know he knows how good I am. So game plan was to go in there, not take too much damage, but let's try to make it into at least the second round, and see how our cardio is, see how we feel. So first round went out there, he came out really wild, took him down, um, just grounded, pounded him. He got up, kneed him in the face. Once again, we got in a little exchange, took him down again, and put him up against the cage. He got up one more time, and I double legged him. I literally picked him up off the mat, dragged him across the mat to my corner, and just completely dominated him. And I felt that position when I was getting on his back. I would get one hook in, and I was like, man, I could really get this right here, but let me just keep the foot on the gas and just continue just beating this dude. So round two came, same thing. He threw a kick to the body, um, got it, picked him up, slammed him, walked him to my corner, and just was dominating him. Just a lot of ground and pound, and so I had one hook in on the back, and I knew it was coming, and stayed there for about 2 minutes, beating on him, and I was like, all right, it's time to just finish this dude. He's already broken. He's looking for a way out. So he wanted to go to weigh-ins in a gi. So either way, I wanted to test that jujitsu out anyway. So hit him with the calf slicer, and Yeah, just another win, just another finish on the record.
That kind of performance, what are you most proud of from what you did? Because it sounds like there's some powerful moments, there were some technical moments, you asserted yourself. Like, what part of the performance do you come away most proud of?
I think just showing that I'm well rounded. Like I said, I've been knocking all these dudes out, and it's really just been happening. At heart, I'm really a wrestler. I love wrestling. I wrestled since I was a kid. Um, but the hands, just the power in the hands, have been putting these dudes away quickly. So really wanted to just go out there. Um, and yeah, I didn't take any damage at all. I went to practice on Monday, so I went right back into the gym. Um, Here at the fire station, hitting two a days. So yeah, I'm just proud that I show that I'm well rounded, and anywhere the fight goes, I'm comfortable, and I'm good everywhere.
A huge win, a big performance. I had already, though, been talking obviously to some people, and we had heard you were trying to be active. An amateur title fight had been a big goal. So you knew win here and the Alexis Ortiz fight was being made. As far as progression as a martial artist and how everything's playing out right now, how are you feeling?
I'm happy, man. I'm really happy. I'm really happy what's going on with my career right now. I'm happy with the team that I have around me. All these guys support me. All these guys are leveling me up. Um, I have the best boxing coach in the state. I feel I have the best MMA coach. I have the best jiu-jitsu coach in the state. How I feel, and I feel that you give me the work, I'm gonna do the work, and I'm just gonna continue to grow, man. I'm a workhorse. I will outwork any man on this planet.
You surprised at all with how the performance played out, with how the fight went? You wanted to show all this, and then you do it. Is it almost surprising to say things played out like as you desired?
Uh, not to sound cocky or anything, but not really, man. I'm really big on visualization and game planning to a T, and every single one of my fights have went how I've planned it out. I'm not one of those guys that are like, oh, he likes to do this, so let me switch up the game plan, let me switch up my style. No, I think that I'm the best, so I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna show them that that's my octagon, and I'm gonna fight how I fight, and I'm gonna do what I do, and I feel that I'm good at everything.
We know that it's a whole learning, growing stage right now. Was there any issues with looking ahead, that you know the title fight, that you want that opportunity, that there's the Alexis fight, and there you are in Alamogordo with one more stepping stone to get there? Was there any problem looking past Juwan at any point, trying to focus in?
Oh yeah, honestly, man, that's funny you bring it up. It actually was. It was weird having two guys on your mind, like just going on those long runs, running 6 miles, and you're thinking about this one dude, but then that bout pops in your head, and you're like, oh man, like you have two guys on your mind, so you have to stay focused on the the task at hand. So I knew Jawan Smith had experience. He fought one of my buddies, Hondo Guterres. And I knew he was okay, but I know how good I am, so I was just like, let's get this dude out the way, and we will completely have 100% focus on Alexis Ortiz. And yeah, I was able to keep the focus. I'm pretty level headed, and yeah, I mean, we handled business, and we're here now.
What has the process life wise been like now, getting used to this consistency, going full focus, full drive into your MMA endeavors? Well, as you said, still being a father and still having the professional duties there as a firefighter. How is the balance of life going right now where everything is ramping up to another gear?
Yeah, yeah, it is busy. but I have a really good job. I'm a firefighter. I only work 2 days out the week. I have 4 days off. So those 4 days off, I'm basically training full time. And here, when I'm at the firehouse, I'm hitting 2 days, 2 day workouts when I can, if it's a slower shift. Um, but I really want to thank my family because my girlfriend is really supportive of me, and she's been there for me since day one, and she knows that this is a part of me. This is a part of my life. I've been a competitor since the day I can remember, and she's been there for me. She watches our daughter, meal preps, and keeps the house clean, does my laundry, and just supports me through this journey. And she's there 100%. And so is my mom and dad. Man, they're all on board. They help us with childcare. Whenever I need anything, they're always there for me. So I have no excuse not to go all in on this.
What has it meant to you to have that backing, to have that support? You look, and I'm sure you've heard it being at the gym. That's not everybody's home scenario.
Yeah, no, I just I'm grateful. I love all them, and I just grind, man. I just try to give it my all, and I just try to be the best MMA fighter, the best father, the best boyfriend, the best son that I possibly could be.
And kind of, who do you feel you get that example from? Who's been that role model that gives you the idea of what each one of those needs to look like?
For sure, my dad, man. My dad's the hardest worker I know, and when he was an MMA fighter, he was undefeated. Same thing. He was 11-0. He went to the third round one time. He had all finishes. He had a he was about to go pro, and he tore his ACL, MCL, PCL, and his meniscus. So he tried to come back and tore his ACL again. And that dude is one of the hardest workers, mentally strong people, and he's just honest. And he's someone that I've looked up to. Um, and he's just been a role model to me.
And it's not just that role model, but like, where do you feel you really was it those wrestling mats? Where do you feel you learned what the essence? Because we also know firefighting is a big endeavor. Where did you learn what the essence of hard work is?
It was for sure wrestling, but life, man, life hit me hard when I was in high school. Wrestling, I was for sure one of the baddest dudes in the state that I feel, and I felt I was supposed to be the guy to go into high school, win a few states championships, and go to college, wrestle in college, and I just was messing up. I didn't make grades. I ended up dropping out in high school. Um, my grandma died. My great grandma died. My grandpa died. They all died in one year, and it really broke me. And I gained so much weight. I got up to 215 pounds. I was hanging out with the wrong crowd. I didn't know who I was, and I was seeing these dudes winning state titles, and going to college, and they achieved something that I will never be able to achieve in my life. So that really hit me, and it stays in my head that I'll never be a state champ, but I changed my mindset. Honestly, a David Goggins video popped up, and I thought he was crazy. And then I started thinking, like, you know what? This dude isn't crazy. He just doesn't think like the average American. He doesn't think like the average human. And so I started thinking that way, and I changed my life. And every single year, um, I've grown. Every single year, I became better at anything and everything. So yeah, it was just life, man. Life hit me really hard, and you could either stay down or you could get up. And every time that I've fallen, I've got up and I've become stronger.
Do you remember what some of those words were that you heard from David Goggins that really hit home, that it clicked for you?
Yeah, I don't want to cuss on here, but it was basically stop being a B word, you know? It was basically just get up and stop being a B word, stop making excuses. And that's honestly what I was doing. I was making so much excuses in my life. I would tell my mom and dad, "Oh, well, I'm depressed and this and that," but I wasn't doing anything about it. And I actually saw this one quote. I always talk about this one quote. It's nothing changes if nothing changes. And it like that really sat with me. And I was like, I feel like this because I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm thinking about the exact same BS, and I'm waking up doing the exact same BS. So I need to make a change here. And when I made that change, man, it was the best decision I ever made in my life, man. And I stopped hanging out with the clowns, you know, and started going to church, you know, started working out, signed up for the boxing gym, and got a couple boxing fights. And after I felt the hands were good, I went straight into the MMA gym, and I went into the deep end, man.
Just to give a timeline, how long has this been? When did you like start to have this revelation and get back to tracing your dream?
I think it was really around 2020, if I'm not mistaken. I snapped out of it and started going hard.
You're not there yet, but how much pride is there in looking at where you were then that day and how those changes that you made to where you are now and what you're doing now?
Yeah, it makes me happy, man. It makes me happy for sure. You know, I would, you always want to make your family proud. You know, you want to make your parents proud. So I think that I'm finally doing that now, and I think I'm making myself proud. You know, I'm always setting new goals. I want to achieve a lot of things, and anything that I set my mind to, I do it, man. And I'm really happy how my life is right now, and I'm grateful and blessed, man. And I just got to thank the Lord, you know, for that.
Alexis Ortiz is a handful. I've already heard from people. His grappling is wizardry. We've seen two first round rear naked chokes, a TKO on the ground. How big of a challenge do you feel this is going to be looking at his skill set and really testing you?
Yeah, man, this will for sure be both of our toughest fights to date. Um, but like I said, man, I'm good everywhere. I think I'm one of the best kept secrets in New Mexico. I don't have no social media. I have zero distractions. I go home. Um, I have my family, but that's really it. I'm not on social media. I have no obligations. I work, I go home, and I go straight to the gym. I'm a workhorse, and I'm telling you, this will be a banger of a fight for sure. I know he's good at jujitsu. I welcome that. I welcome him to shoot on me, and we'll see how that goes. I'm comfortable everywhere, so I'm excited for this fight for sure.
You can only be a secret for so long the way you're
Yeah,
fighting, one.
for
And
sure.
two, you have the loudest coach in the building. You got Freddie Sandoval. I'll love Freddie, but you'll only be a secret for so long the way that man yells.
Yeah, that is true, man. That is true. No, for sure, for sure.
And what has it been in that environment, Freddie, Jose, Paco, that you felt has really brought out the best in your skill set?
Yeah, man. It just well rounded. I have these guys who they see something in me, and these guys are working one on ones with me all the time. These guys are they just they see that I want that work. And I have primary jiu-jitsu coach, primary MMA coach, and a primary boxing coach. So if I need to work on my boxing, I can go see Paco. If I need to go work on my jiu-jitsu, I can go see Jose. I need to work on game planning, MMA. I have Freddie. So man, everything's there, and it's just been going good for me.
The best kept secret, maybe for not much longer. March 14th, it's Empire Promotions, Reign of Champions, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Angel Gallegos is fighting for his first amateur title. Leave us with this answer. What does that mean to you? I know it was important.
Yeah, no, it's for sure important. It means that everything that I've been doing, that I'm on the right track for sure. Getting this title shot means that all the hard work's paying off. But like I said in the last interview, there's for sure more out there. You know, it's an amateur title. Um, but I wanna chase these. I want to become pro. You know, and I want to just be the best MMA fighter that I could possibly be. So what this means is that I'm on the right track right now, and just to continue doing what I'm doing, continue being a good human, continue working hard, and yeah, seems like everything is going as planned.
Thank you for the time, sir. You have a good night.
Yes, sir, Mikey. You too, man.
Angel Gallegos, first time on this platform, not the last time. He ran his amateur MMA record to 4-0 in Alamogordo at the Battle at the Basin. That was promoted by Desert Dynasty Promotions, their first event. Coach Anthony Hudson, who I think is ready to come on. We're going to see what's happening. I don't see his face, but I see a logo. Let's try to add him into the conversation right now.
Yo, what's up?
There we go. We got Coach in a closet. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing all right. My closet, yeah, my office closet.
Here we go. Not as tired looking as I thought. First promotion, first event that you threw in the books. Congratulations on that. Looked like a huge success. I've seen many events with a lot less attendees. So first off, how you doing? How you feeling? And what kind of endeavor was it putting on your first event?
You know what? I can't say it was easy. I mean, it's always that was really difficult overall, but I think the support network I have was a big factor in making it as easy as possible. You know, obviously I'm not afraid of hard work, so I mean, I couldn't be a coach MMA fighter or anything like that without understanding that hard work is gonna come with everything. But hard work isn't an enemy to me, so I just had a lot of fun and it keeps me busy.
Desert Dynasty Promotions. Desert Dynasty is Coach Anthony Hudson's gym. You guys are always the road warriors. You finally put something together, took it to Alamogordo. What did you feel was just the response of the community that you and your guys were going to be able to get to perform at home for once?
The response has been there for the longest time, to be honest with you. I mean, it was there before I even released the information. Like over the years, we've had shows here, and there's always big gaps. There was years in between shows, and would get a new promoter, and then it wouldn't do. I don't know. I can't say it wouldn't do so well. There were just too many gaps. And people know I'm what's the word for it? Like I'm permanent here. I'm as permanent for now as I can be. I was raised here. So those time frames were just not enough for us. As far as my fighters go, and a lot of fighters can relate. It's hard to find constant matches, and we come from a small town, so it's like we hunger for something like that. We don't get a lot of crazy cool events or anything like that. Some of the local stuff is okay, but nothing to this scale. For me, it's just can't really say it's a dream, but I guess it was a dream. It was like people kept hitting me up left and right for years, and hey, when we gonna have something here? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not a promoter, guys. I don't know. And then just little by little, just kept going. And I've worked with so many different promotions already, with throughout the state and even out of state that I started, really looking into. Well, maybe I should start bringing something up because it is getting a little more costly to travel and it. I'm not a fighter anymore. I mean, I can't really jump back in there with my age and everything that's gone on in my life. But you know what? Let me do something for everybody else. Let me fix some of the problems that I saw that could be better. So bringing it here was just one of those things that just popped up, and I said, you know what, I can do it. I think I could do it. So I jumped the gun.
You jump the gun, you jump into it, you put together a whole night of fights. Is this something you're going to do again, or did you feel like this was a one and done? And what did I get myself into?
No, 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 no. I had a lot of fun. Like I said, the hard work, it was one thing. I'm not afraid of it. I like doing leg work. I need it. I need it. I get too complacent, and with complacency, for me, it's complacency is death. I can't settle. It's like I need to move. I have to stay busy, otherwise, I am going to lose my mind. So with something like this, something in a field that I'm already been a part of in an industry that I love. I've through and through. I'm always going to be part of the MMA community somehow. I'm going to find a way. I love MMA as a coach, as a fighter. I loved it. As a practitioner, everything. Now a promoter. I got a lot of support from the community, at least for around the area for sure. I try to treat everybody how I wanted to be treated. I didn't have the best of luck coming into all this, like through a lot of my own fight career. So knowing that on each end, like every aspect, being a fighter, listening to the coaching side, managing all that stuff. Now I get to see the promotion side. It helps me understand things a little bit more.
Specifically with your background with those interactions, like what do you feel was the benefit coming in now almost as a fresh promoter? You were almost happily unknowing to that part of the bit where you already knew some of the gripes and shortcomings from a fighter or coach side. Like how was that using those to benefit as a promoter?
Um, I actually came into it thinking, I can't please everybody, and I can't. I'm not here to please every single person. I'm gonna have gripes, and I have to settle with that. I have to be comfortable with that, and I'm okay with that. Now, if I can get the majority of the people, to understand me and know that I'm not here to, be grimy or whatever people say or take advantage of fighters. I'm not here to do that. I got fighters of my own. I was a fighter. I know I've been taken advantage of. I've had that happen. So I don't want that for people. So like having having the experience as again a fighter and as a coach, and then just looking at it from different stances in how MMA is, it gave me a leg up, and it gives me a lot more hope to be able to, can't say make things different, but just make things good for our promotion, for mine. I can't speak on anybody else's promotions, whatever, that everybody, but the ones that I've been a part of, like the ones that do well, that are great, those are the ones I follow and kind of emulate. I try to pick what all the great stuff that comes with their knowledge and everything. And I have good mentors. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
And you brought it up. You were a competitor before a coach, before getting into the promotional side. And if you could fill a little bit everybody in on your background as a martial artist.
Martial arts in itself. I mean, I've been a huge fan since I was a kid. I was actually, in karate and taekwondo and a lot of striking arts when I was a kid throughout, growing up. I've always been, and you can ask my brother, I was the one who was always trying to be the karate kid online and stuff like that. Not online, but like in life. Uh, he always used to give me shit about it. So like I always tried to, stick to that path. For some reason, I've always come back to that. Now, as far as MMA itself, I had some issues. I'm not perfect. I'm not a saint. I've had some issues. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. coming off of, for me personally, I came off of, some drug binges, and I'm not one to shy away from that. I'll admit it. I've had a bad string of that in the past, but it was, over a decade ago. So I can't really, say it still affects me. I can't say it affects me now, but it did back then. And MMA itself, my cousin, she was a King of the Cage champion at one point, and I started I watched the UFC one, who in our community hasn't. I started from that and worked, all the way through them. The arts were great, and then I said, you know what, screw it, I got to find something better for myself. I got to pick myself up. I got kids, I got to do something better for them. Let me just start out. Let's see how this MMA part of it goes. And I was not ready. I'll tell you straight up. It was a rude awakening. When you come through, coming from a traditional martial arts background, karate, judo, that's technically the first, and taekwondo were some of the first ones I worked in. I've been dabbled in a lot of different ones. Getting into the MMA side, it's a bit of a shell shock, and but it helped me. I mean, you got to be a little crazy to continue it, but I guess that coming the drive from it was trying to do better, and that's where I was like, okay, am I crazy? And I just kept coming back for some reason. I don't know why I kept coming back. It hurt every day. I'd always have black eyes, bruises, and I swear I broke my nose. These guys used to crack me like in the jaw. I'm like, man, is this really how it's supposed to be? It's not like the movies, guys.
You get beat up, practice is rough, you have some fights, there's highs, there's lows. At what point, though, is it, this is life? This isn't just something that helped me in a recovery, helped me become who I am, that it is who I am, where you're like Desert Dynasty, where a gym, where this is such a big commitment to this will always be a focus in your life?
That's a really hard question, because I don't know if anybody can relate, but I'm transparent. I have doubts a lot. I have a lot of doubts, but I'm also persistent. I'm a very persistent. Even when I'm doubtful, I'm always persistent. Even if it's like, okay, I don't know if this is gonna work, I still try to do it anyways. Now, if somebody were to tell me, you can't do that, I do everything in the extremes. I live my life to the extremes. Anytime somebody says, oh yeah, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't do this, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do it 10 times more now. Now, if it's me talking to myself and I have self-doubt's kind of one of my biggest enemies. But outside sources, if you're doubting me, if something says I can't do something, oh, I'm gonna do my best to try to prove it. Even if you're right, I'm gonna try my best to try to prove you wrong. And that's kind of where I keep continuing. I keep continuing to thrive in that area. I think, with my extremes, I get extreme measures, push my way too. So, to this day, I'm still not sure. Like, there's still things I'm like, am I still going to continue doing this? I can't really give you a straight answer. I can just tell you, I'm here for it now, and whatever happens tomorrow, I'm going to probably continue to do it. You'll know when it's time for me to stop, but I can't tell you when I'm going to stop.
But can you tell, like, when it became apparent to you that you didn't want to stop, or that the love was that great, that you felt that good about what you were doing?
You know what? Yeah. You know what? I've had some health issues, and I think that's when it really happened. When you've done something for so long, in your life, and you get this, repetitiveness, and you get, after a while, it becomes, you get that burnout, and you feel like you're a little complacent. But the moment you stop is the moment you miss it the most. The moment there's a potential for you not to be able to do it anymore. That's when it really hit me. Like, you know what? I'm gonna miss this. Why? What is going on? What's and again, you see I think I've told you about the health issues. My kidneys have failed. I had to get transplant and everything, and I'm still on the meds. So for someone like me to, go through it all pretty much and bounce right back and jump back in and even to this day, I'm still doing. The moment that really hit me was when I lost it all. And it's almost like rock bottom moments. When the moment it was like, hey, you have kidney failure. I started losing and spiraling a little bit because of the health issue, but the thought of losing it all and not being able to do it continuously, or the thought of death was obviously apparent, but losing it all was a really big factor in not stopping. So this is, yeah. So I think that's probably the really the biggest part of what keeps me going. And when I said this is going to be the rest of my life, this is going to be for as long as I can make it till death. I mean, whatever you want to say, like for as long as I can go to the next life.
There's been the substance issues, there was the health issues, to come out on the other side, to last weekend be sitting cage side in Alamogordo watching Ricky Maynes and your guy Richard Jennings tear down the house, and what I've been told is an absolute barn burner. One of those fights, people, a true split decision that could have gone either way, and easily the fight of the night. For one, just not as the promoter for what you put together, but also for what the journey you and Richard have been on. Like, how emotional for everything you had been through was it sitting there in that promoter's chair for that main event?
You know what? Not that not that emotional. I'm so used to this. Like I just love it so much that it's hard to, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't change it. It's just I'm so used to this all. Like there's really no other emotions except for let's go. Let's go. I'm just happy to be here and happy to do it all. I think the biggest emotion was excitement to see everyone. I mean, everyone keeps telling me great things, and at times I get self-conscious. I start thinking, was it a good fight? Are you guys lying to me? But no, you know what? All the fights, I keep getting great feedback, and it helps me out. Just so you guys know, it helps me a whole lot, and this is why I want to continue. But yeah, man, like as far as my emotions were that night, they were high, but also scattered. I was stressed. I was happy. I was myself. I was myself. You see how I am at the fights. I'm all over the place, and I love it. I couldn't change it.
Was there a sense of relief? I think as I'm looking at your post, as I woke up the next morning on Facebook, I think I'm calculating. I'm like, I think Anthony was writing that somewhere between 2 and 4 in the morning. Was there relief as you're finishing that post and the cages broke down, the venue's torn down, you're able to go to bed, and you've actually accomplished this?
Yeah, that was actually like 4 in the morning. Yeah, I was pretty tired. We actually got done breaking the cage down and getting everything out, cleaning up. A little earlier, we went to go get some food and stayed up, but I was exhausted. And yeah, no, there absolutely. I was like, oh my god, but for my first time, I'm exhausted, and it all hit me at once. And it hit me. It hit me yesterday too, and I was like, why am I still so drained? And like today, even I'm like, I don't want to move. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do anything. But all in all, it was a good exhaustion. It was well earned, I think, and I would love to do it again.
So Battle at the Basin 2, are the plans already mentally in work? So you starting to put some framework together for the next one?
Oh yeah. You the young man that you just had on, Angel is an amazing fighter. I've been watching him, I think, since his second fight. So just past couple fights. He's a very talented guy, and I talked to him, and I mentioned something about a certain time frame, and if I continue this, I'd love to give him another title shot at my place, at my organization, and a few others. There's a few others out there that were on this card that I would love to see in title contention and stuff like that. I want to create some champions for our area. I mean, there's belts everywhere, but if I can make this a long-standing thing, then you know what? Why not? Why not?
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I'm seeing 5 knockouts and 3 submissions on the night.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh man. Oh my god. The first 5 fights were insane. Like them guys were just getting at it. It was crazy. I mean, yeah, they were just right at it, right out the gate. Especially the first one. The first one was just insane. Who was that? Gabriel Rocha and Israel Ariota. They were like tearing down. They tore down the house like just out the gate. I'm like, and right now they're kind of the ones who they I don't fight of the night. I would say they would have like performance of the night for one of them or two of them. Like there's so many different avenues to go with that, but they really set the tone for every fighter after that. It's hard to follow up whenever like the very first fight is like just insane like that. I mean, they were just getting after it. Nobody was stopping them. Nobody was holding them back. It was just nuts, like from bell to bell. It was great.
So now that you've got this under your belt, I got to know, promoter, matchmaker, coach, coaching your son, which is the most stressful job you've put yourself under in combat sports?
Yeah, you know what? If I had to pick out all these, I think this one. I think the matchmaking promotion wasn't too bad. I had fun with that one. I think matchmaking is probably the most stressful part because I wanted it to look good. I wanted the fights to look great, not just on paper, but from experiencing watching these fighters. I want to in my mind, I'm like, okay, I've seen this guy and I've seen this guy. Is this going to be a good match? And everybody says, you know what, every fight looks great. Um, I mean, yeah, I think that was the hardest part. And then keeping fights. Keeping fights was super stressful because I feel super bad whenever, um, a fight drops due to, whatever. And I have to reach out to the opponent and say, hey, man, I'm sorry, but this person dropped, and then having to scramble to look for replacements. And, we only have so much time. And I think the most stressful part of that is when a fighter either doesn't turn in their paperwork, and that's kind of a weird thing. That throws me off when people don't turn in their proper paperwork. With New Mexico, it's only a couple things, so it's not that hard to turn it in. Turn it in, whenever. I mean, like as soon as possible, though. Not the week of. Like turn it in way earlier. But you know, trying to keep a fight together the week of the fight and somebody either gets hurt or has to drop out, family issues, something like that happens, we can't stop that, it just happens. But at the same time, I feel terrible and I have to try to scramble and see what I can do in that short amount of time. And I think that's where it gets the hardest. Promoting, I can talk about all that stuff all day. I can, oh, it's a fight, let's do this. Yeah, come out. Let's hey, check out this poster. Who wants tickets? I can do all that all day. But the fight, the matches was probably the most stressful part. And I'll tell you, you know what? Some of these guys, it's like pulling teeth. It's like, guys, give me the dang paperwork, give me all the stuff. It's only a few things. It's New Mexico. I think that's the hardest part, and no, it's not in an offensive way, not disrespectful. It's like, come on, I just need it done. I want you to fight, and I'm trying to help you out. But it's like, come on, just let's do this. Get on board, guys.
Desert Dynasty, been a diamond in a rough for Alan Magardo for a long time, producing some great fighters, Coach. Wanted to give you a couple minutes. We look forward to Desert Dynasty Promotions, this sophomore endeavor, when you come up with it.
I mean, dude, thank you for everything, man. I mean, you've been seeing just that right there. I mean, just knowing that I've been through a lot, and then my gym has been through a lot. My team, we were on the map, but we didn't get. I don't know. We're getting our flowers. I could say that now. I feel like we're finally getting like our flowers, and getting. It's been a long time coming, and we're still there. Just know that we're still there. And I appreciate everything that you've done and helped with us. You've always been like quick to interview my guys, and and then this is the first time I've actually got an interview with you, so I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, my bad. Been meaning to talk to you for a long time, get you on record, hold you to the fire.
No worries, man. It's great.
Coach Hudson, you have a great night. I thank you for the time.
Thank you. See ya.
My Fight Show. I'm Mika Frankl. We're chugging along. Angel Gallegos 4-0 amateur. He got that 4th win, Battle at the Basin, which was promoted by Anthony Hudson. Coats over there at Desert Dynasty in Alamogordo, one of the lesser known but unsung heroes of the combat sports community here in New Mexico. Everything ties back in together. Richard Jennings been putting in work. David Hudson been putting in work. Ray Viza, who's out of Borg MMA and Fitness, was down there with that team for quite a while. There have been some really talented guys to come out of Alamogordo. So glad to put some shine on them, and glad to see whether it's Empire in Las Cruces, whether it's Alamogordo, Anthony Hudson, Desert Dynasty Promotions, Nowhere to Run, where we're hoping to see some evolvements from kickboxing. I think Nick wants to get into the MMA side. We've had APFC, obviously Fight World, John Judy, huge shout out. It's prevalent that we have these local promotions and that we are getting these amateurs the requisite experience they needed. There was a point where, remember, New Mexico and the fighters representing this territory, we're not just fighting in local title fights, but we're talking about world title fights, UFC, WEC, Pride and Strike Force, trying to get this next generation back to that level. We know Steve Mean Machine Garcia knocking on the door. We know Ty Miller, great debut. Josh Hokett doing what he's doing. We have a lot more talented fighters making their way up the ranks, getting their experience. And it's even better to have them do it here locally with those promotions so we can cultivate the fan base, because there are a lot of great fighters. But what separated Conor McGregor was a fan base and an ability to sell. So to cultivate that homegrown fan base to help push you, it just helps get the ball rolling that much more for these young fighters. 1 hour in the books. Hour number 2 is coming up. The plan is to be joined by James Pleasant, APFC lightweight champion. He will be coming up hopefully any moment here. The invite is out. He can jump in the conversation whenever he wants, because we are going to be here for the next hour. He's going to be talking about March 22nd, Isleta Resort and Casino, going to be taking on Emmanuel Sanchez. Believe me, I'm sure he was devastated when Emmanuel pulled out the first time, medical emergency. Heroically, Jess Martinez jumps in on short notice. James is able to withstand a pretty hairy first round where Jess was on his back. Then James takes control, eventually gets the victory of his own by submission. First title defense comes in the same venue where he won the title against the man he expected to fight for it. Well, we've got some time while we're waiting for James. Plenty of news, notes, and headlines going around the combat sports world. One time, a member of the Jackson Wink Academy, Patchy Mix, no longer on the UFC roster. That news came out last week. Not sure if you guys indulged in it or not. Patchy Mix, though, moving up to featherweight, and he'll do so returning to Ryzen Fighting Federation. We had seen him go over to Japan, fight for Ryzen when he was the Bellator world champion. He looks to conquer the world one more time. A top-notch, dangerous grappler who just never got his feet under him and didn't look like himself inside of the Bellator or inside of the UFC. Wonder if he can return to that Bellator greatness in the Ryzen ring. Big hope for Patchy Mix, and all the best to him always. We'll be efforting him ahead of that Ryzen fight, see if we can get him on the show. Always love talking to Patchy. Former LFA bantamweight champion John Hollywood Sweeney, a protege of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, has also announced his signing with Ryzen. He will be taking on Shoko Sato, Ryzen 52. That's the same card where Patchy Mix was making his debut. That is March 7th. UFC and one vet, Sage Northcutt. Sage Northcutt back in the news. He is signed with Karate Combat. He does have a traditional karate background, probably out of the promotions and the options that are available. If he wants to be fighting again, this was the best decision that Sage can make. Go to Karate Combat and utilize a skill set that he already had. One of my favorite kickboxers that I discovered when Glory was really trying to preeminently push into America has retired. Nikki Holtzkin, the 7-time world champion, 4 of them coming in Glory Kickboxing, 95 and 18 as a kickboxer, 15 and 1 as a boxer. That's 110 and 19 in combat sports. I think there's a couple Muay Thai fights maybe mixed into that kickboxing record. You saw him in Glory. You saw him in one championship. Nikki Holtzkin this past week officially announcing his retirement. One of my favorites that I got to discover in the Glory Kickboxing days. So a fond farewell into retirement in a place where I believe he's still going to be leading his sons and Team Holtzkin. So we might see him around the one championship banner. I think some more, or even Glory Kickboxing, but you will not see him competing again himself. One championship, Octagon, and Karate Combat all have events this week. No UFC. Yes, there is Zuffa Boxing. Saturday is the holiday for the lovers. It is Valentine's Day. If you're still looking to look your best, if you still need to get that last minute haircut, shave, get the beard groomed, you go over to Barber Gabe's Fades. That's 100 Coors Northwest. Lobo Plaza is the shopping center. It's Suite 107. You can book online at barbergabefades.net. You can also buy the wonderful beard balm to hold it all in place. Got it right here. Believe me, people, we using it. It works. It's great. You pick that up on the website also. And if you're looking to take your website, your images, your marketing to the next level, you do that with Robbie Ray Images and Media. Just did some stuff, some headshots, and a little bit of video coming out for Barber Gabe himself. So I'm telling you, it all comes together here. Cage Minds. Don't forget, MMA After Hours is out. The new episode today. Me and Michael Carlisle talking all about UFC Vegas 113, Dana White and Hunter Campbell, who's in charge of the UFC, and mostly about Mario Batista and supplanting himself and really cementing himself in the top 10 of the UFC bantamweight division with the biggest, most exciting, and most dominant performance of his career, what he did against Vinicius Oliveira. 7:30, we will be joined. We are 22 minutes away. We're going to have him come on last, come in our main event spot. We will be having James Pleasant, so that gives us some time to talk. Brought up the PFL, Usman Nurmagomedov. Talked about that even with Angel Gallegos. Quite possibly the next great lightweight, especially coming out of that Russian lineage. Ramazan Kurmamedov, he is the Bellator or the PFL. Well, he was the Bellator, now the PFL welterweight champion. And we'll see how long that remains or if that title is vacated quite quickly, because he was insisting and insinuating in the cage to Dan Hardy that retirement was more than likely ahead of him. Not the big, beautiful weekend that the PFL was looking for. And while you had the UFC and the Apex, we also had our friends at BKFC. Knuckle Mania 6. Talk about grabbing headlines. Talk about changing the narrative. Talk about changing legacies. Knuckle Mania 6. Back-to-back years in Philadelphia. I have got to catch your breath and take a drink. Interviews are energized by Dubby, and they're about to hydrate me real quick. Quick drink of water. We are back to talk about Knuckle Mania 6. Andre Arlovsky, 46 years young. A revelation of a year last year, becoming the number one contender in the heavyweight division for Dirty Boxing, for Misfits Boxing, and then for BKFC. And then he does it. He chooses BKFC. He chooses the trilogy fight up to nothing on Ben Rothwell. I was skeptical. Rothwell had absolutely punished people, put men in the clinch and broke their faces. Absolutely sent Mick Terrell flying. It looked like Debo had hit somebody on Friday. and Andrei Arlovsky at a same size, 275 pounds. Quicker, faster technique, the hand speed, the foot speed, the angles that he's hitting, coming straight down the pipe, cuts Rothwell open multiple places around his skull, busts open the nose. Minute and 14 seconds into the third round, the doctor's stoppage is necessary. Andrei Arlovsky defeated cancer 3 times. He told everybody, fuck cancer. Great message. Andrei Arlovsky, always been a pleasure and a gentleman when I met him. And again, a world champion. A dominant performance in a fashion that was truly unexpected. Rothwell had the size, the technique, had the experience in the sport, had the motivation of having had these previous losses, and this stiff, straight 1-2, just down the middle, the speed advantage, too much to get over. Huge win for Andre. 24 pounds, too much, and that looks like that was evident as Dave Mundell landed some body shots, but couldn't get sustained offense off against Lorenzo Hunt in what was a very tactical, insightful, high IQ, back and forth, looking for the opening bout. When Mundell finally thought he was landing to the body and working his way inside, Lorenzo Hunt blitzed in. It was one big annihilation of distance, the right hand straight down the pipe, and the knockout of the night. Lorenzo Hunt, pound for pound. He said it before, there ain't a champion unless he says so. And Lorenzo Hunt, your BKFC pound for pound king, with the devastating 4th round knockout of Dave Mundell. Quite the turnabout from 2 years ago. Knucklemania in Hollywood, California, trying to go up to heavyweight. Doesn't work out for Lorenzo Hunt. There's having to prove his innocence, that it was a tainted supplement with the California Athletic Commission, regaining his light heavyweight title, now regaining his pound for pound #1 status, the juggernaut, the first ballot, the automatic first man in the BKFC Hall of Fame when it comes to pass, putting the promotion on his back, stepping up on short notice. He was going to take on Yoel Romero. He was going to take that challenge. He wants the biggest fight possible. Can't get that fight. He's willing to take on Mundell. Credit to Mundell again. 24 pounds, 2 weeks notice. Maybe that was too big of a gap. I don't know if this fight's any different if we do it at 185, but definitely at 199, not in Dave Mundell's favor. The size, just too much to make up. Lorenzo, too physical, too imposing at that weight class, and probably would be so still at 185. You just might think, would his punch resistance be a bit diminished? Would that give Mundell more of a chance? But for thinking it could be close, there was nothing close about it. It was tactical. It was intense. It was on the edge of your seat until the moment Lorenzo finally found the opening and unleashed that bomb. Johnny Garbarino, 7 knockdowns. Kane Tomlinson Jr. was it was like minus 1,000, plus 1, whatever, a 1,000 favorite for Johnny Garbarino. This was an avalanche. This was an expected mauling. And the most unexpected part of it was for all the jaw jacking and back and forth, Tomlinson didn't really look like he was that interested in engaging. He was more trying to save face and somehow agonizingly drag this to a decision. But after throwing himself to the ground numerous times, the ref just stops the fight. 7th knockdown. It was more than justified. It wasn't the knockout. It wasn't the revenge that Garbarino wanted, but let's be honest. Needing to go in there and get revenge for Pat Sullivan because Sullivan got iced by Tomlinson. And I understand your buddies, but in the world of professional combat sports, having to go avenge your buddy's loss, it just seems beneath the guy that we're on the precipice of BKFC building into a middleweight title contender. They have put so much promotion, so much push and emphasis in behind Johnny Cannoli, Giant Cannoli. I mean, who really wants to see a Cannoli getting thrown around at a weigh-ins? It's not like it's a prize anymore. He is a dessert assaultus. He won a fight he was supposed to in dominant fashion. We just didn't get the mauling that we expected because Tomlinson didn't play into it. And I don't think that'll do him any favors to earn a fight again. What I am intrigued to see is, do we get a Stuve? Do we get a Sanchez? Do we get a Marcus Edwards? Like, when does a real name fight Garbarino? That is what I am interested to see. For the other winners on the card, we also had Ben Bonner. He gets unanimous decision. The jab, he was able to outmove. It was a replica. Did you think maybe the first time was an aberration? Could it have played out differently? It did not. Tony Soto could not catch up to Ben Bonner and could not get past the job. Great win by Bonner. Bonner now puts himself in position because Frankl Tenaglia has signed with the PFL. I'm guessing that BKFC is out of the Tenaglia business. Now the Tenaglias have jumped ship on BKFC twice. Ben Bonner, Austin Trout, vacant BKFC lightweight title is the fight to make and is heading towards us very soon. That one I'm waiting to see because Austin Trout kind of looks bored, in my opinion, waiting for all of this to play out, waiting to be able to get in there and keep adding to his legacy. Still not sure why he's not the welterweight champion. No hate towards Dustin Page, but doesn't look like Austin Trout is really that busy at lightweight that he couldn't be defending 2 titles. Pat Brady runs his record to 3-0. Multiple knockdowns of Berrahill. Berrahill will never question his toughness. After getting knocked down many a times, he was still swinging back, trying to clobber Brady. I was getting excited about Patrick the Brick Brady. We could see him number 5 in the division. I mean, pre-Arlovsky, stunning Rothwell. You were looking at Rothwell, Perdomo, a Josh Watson, a Parker Porter, and I thought that Pat Brady was right in that mix. Stuns us all with, after the fight, announcing he's done with bare knuckle, he's done with combat sports, and he announced his retirement. That's a disappointing shocker. You can understand it. This is a violent, brutal game. He has 3 to 4 children, just welcomed in another child who's a year old. Patrick Brady joins Ramazan Kurmagomedov with a quite shocking retirement. I don't think BKFC or PFL had either one of those in the cards, with the placement on the cards, the fights they had given, and where they were trying to build both men too, but it's what played out. Jade Masawong, as I thought, the right hand was something Crystal Pitwin was not going to be able to evolve past. Too much experience from Masawong, who started this game before, has more fights, had been more consistent. It was a rematch, and it played out just like the first fight, as expected. A majority decision. Mike Richmond, the knockdown, the body shot was devastating. Left hook right in the sternum. That knockdown is the difference maker in the decision, defeating Joe Elmore. This was at 175. It does look like Richmond, a former champion, at 185, who we did see in his MMA days, I believe as low as 135, has said he is going to go down to 165 to continue his bare knuckle charge towards 2 division world championship. I did mention it, Charles Bennett, many a times in BKFC, he finally gets a win. Left hook, wild knockdown. Pat Sullivan, beloved by Philadelphia. Defense is not where it needs to be. He got hit with some big shots, got brutalized. Zebekiah Montez versus Brandon Mayer. It's now 1-1. 3 knockdowns, second round knockout for Zebekiah Montez, avenging his debut loss from a year ago. Maybe that one's booked for Knuckle Mania 7. Apparently, they only each fight once a year. And Lex Ludlow, friend of the show, we've had on before, we'll have on again. Unanimous decision win, but I'll tell you, he didn't get a microphone. He didn't get the stoppage. Now, as a cruiserweight in his debut, I'm sure he wanted a more decisive, statement-making, impactful, viral moment for his victory, but he did clobber and easily dismantle Zach Kalmus. I love you, Zach. Talked to him many a times, but a guy that needs to be more aggressive. He cannot rely on his toughness to tire out his opponents. It was an awkward fight. Ludlow getting things done in the clinch. There's where the most significant results from Knucklemania. Well, let's backtrack to a couple things because there were some things outside of the cage. And you can't talk BKFC like you can't talk UFC a lot of the times. Like you can't talk UFC without Conor McGregor. It's not that you can't talk BKFC without Conor McGregor. You can't talk BKFC without getting too far before saying the name Mike Perry. Platinum Mike Perry has been the biggest draw for bare knuckle fighting championships. He has been the superstar of bare knuckle fighting championships. But to me, there's been a wearing thin of his shtick. Do I like Mike Perry, his involvement with John Jones in the essence of what they've done for Dirty Boxing? Dirty Boxing, 4-ounce boxing, allowing dynamic jumping strikes and work in the clinch, even allowing the elbows. You know, I'm kind of a sucker for a striking sport like that. But Mike Perry in BKFC, he beats Julian Lane, Knucklemania, his debut. Beats Michael Venom Page in the UK. That's massive. He knocks in Luke Rockhold's teeth. Yeah, I was there live for that one. He takes things up a notch with the Eddie Alvarez fight. And up a notch is a beloved star name. Like Luke Rockhold was a bigger fighter in the terms of 185 pounds, a very, very large man, a knockout threat. So the threat of a knockout reduced, but the excitement, the fan allure, the love, the connection, the viability for the fight grew when you take on an Eddie Alvarez. You do that at 175 pounds. Go up to 185 to take on Thiago Alves. That's back at Knucklemania 4. We just got done with Knucklemania 6. A first-round knockout. Alves gets planted. We have the Jake Paul boxing debacle. Yeah, Jake Paul, don't forget, outboxed Mike Perry in 2024. 2025, October, a couple months ago, guys remember it, back to 175 pounds, and Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens is a 155-pound fighter normally. Went up 20 pounds to take on Mike Perry. Mike Perry has been the biggest draw in BKFC. Lorenzo Hunt is begging for a fight with Mike Perry. Dave Mundell begging for a fight with Mike Perry. We're talking about number 1 and number 2 pound for pound. We're talking about 2-division champion. We're talking about long-term champion at 175 pounds. We're talking about the 185-pound champion, 205-pound champion. Any champion in the BKFC realm, world champion, that Mike Perry wanted to fight, the opportunity has been at his hands. Now, if it came down to simple business that BKFC said they were going to pay more for an Alvarez and Alves, a Stevens fight, well, math makes math, and you can't hate on Mike Perry. You have to duck points on him for wanting to get paid, for going after the most lucrative, the most frugal opportunity possible. But there's a point where he is the star of BKFC. He is the king of BKFC, except he doesn't want to fight BKFC fighters that are around his weight class, that are in his division. The risk versus the reward, if it's not adding up, it lessens the appeal for me of the next 155-pound fighter. It's going to jump up to 170 to take on Mike Perry. Some of that comes up because it feels like the call-outs from Lorenzo Hunt are not being answered. The call-outs from Dave Mundell were not answered. What does Mike Perry want to do? Why doesn't he want to fight either one of them? There's a part where I understand when you're a Conor McGregor and you're saying, dance for me. Someone needs to show me they're relevant. This is the Khabib, the Islam of BKFC, giving Mike Perry that opportunity. In this realm, we're not getting bigger. You're not pulling a Canelo Alvarez over here to fight Mike Perry. I'm not sure what he's fishing for. If it's just trying to push up the bottom line with BKFC, maybe the opposite would be better. Indulge in the rivalry, make the fans want it, then demand more money, because then the promotion really is against the wall to make the fight because the fans want it. As the fans are mentioning, Hunt and Mundell versus Perry. As BKFC can mention it, I don't think that's driving the bargaining chips up for Mike Perry to make his argument of why he deserves something bigger or better, or even what direction that could be. It was a night where BKFC was able to sell the headlines thanks to Mike Perry, though, also because he got into a war of words with Eddie Alvarez. And if you had been watching the lead up to Knucklemania, you have to know by now, Philadelphia takes Philadelphia a little too seriously when it comes to BKFC. It seemed like Kane Tomlinson Jr. was going to be jumped at any point, whether it was by Pat Sullivan, by Johnny Garbarino for bad-mouthing the city. And I can only think that some of that same kind of brotherly love went into everyone getting the back of Eddie Alvarez as Mike Perry was assaulted. If we can find that video, and eventually I'm going to figure out how to screen share with you guys and show you that here, we would show you that malice. But Mike Perry getting in more action around the BKFC ring than in the BKFC ring. And I figured it was time to bring up Mike Perry because, if nothing else, Lorenzo Hunt, Dave Mundell, I don't know how we get bigger in the BKFC world for Mike Perry than the two guys that are already calling him out. Couple minutes away from being joined by APFC lightweight champion James Pleasant, captured the title APFC 21 here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And wouldn't you know it, APFC 22 going to be right back here in the 505 Isleta Resort and Casino. So this is the third event in a very short amount of time from Anthony Pettis Fighting Championships. In addition to James Pleasant, Emmanuel Sanchez, Jalen Fuller, our friend, first guest that I had on the Cage Minds Fight Hour, ESPN Radio, Albuquerque 1017, The Team. You hear that show every Saturday morning. That's where you can find it first from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. We do get it up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify later in the day. This week, we will be joined by Bellator vet, longtime member of the Jackson Wink Academy. He owns the West Side Power Gym. Rocky Romero is going to be in studio with me on Saturday. We're going to have a video up, I believe, thanks to Robbie Ray Media. So this one will be up on YouTube. Also, Cage Minds Fight Hour this Saturday. Continuing talking about APFC, Andrew Alvara, Derek Mounier, Mark Hussey, Jean-Rick Chorus, other professional bouts that have been announced on the amateur side. Brendan Johnson, Jacob Sosiniak, Robert Valenzuela versus Gabe Bencomo, Keyshawn Randleson versus Clint Whitmore. All on tap. We're going to have a ton of interviews here in the upcoming weeks as we lead towards APFC 22. Anthony Pettis Fighting Championships kicking off their 2026 calendar right here in the 505. And don't worry, we're also going to have, as soon as it becomes available and we know who's going to be on the card, plenty of competitors from Fight World also going to be joining us. Our main event guest even looks to be a little bit early. Is hyping it up, and I want to get right to it. He is APFC lightweight champion. APFC 22, March 22nd is where you can see him in action. Isleta Resort and Casino. How you doing tonight, James Pleasant?
I'm doing good. And yourself, Micah?
Oh, I'm doing well, sir. I'm happy to hear from you, and glad to hear that you're getting this fight.
Yeah, I'm super excited too, man. I know we were supposed to fight back in, what was it, a few months ago, but now it seems we're actually going to have the real deal.
So let's go back actually a few months ago. You get the call, APFC. Did you know that you were going to be on the card title fight? Like, how does just that process play out of getting on the card and finding out that you're going to be in such a position on it?
Well, it's actually pretty funny story because I know that every fighter has this conversation with their team and their coaches or whoever's procuring their fight, where they say, "Where do you want to fight for next?" We had just done a lot of local promotions and whatnot, and I think we had just won out in New Mexico. And he said, "What do you want to fight for next?" And I said, "I want to fight for APFC." And my coach said, "All right, is that what you want to do?" And I said, "Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to fight for these guys." And sure enough, he made it happen. We got that phone call and they offered Emmanuel Sanchez, and we just thought that that was going to be the perfect opponent, you know. And so it was such a great experience to have all these good guys on the card. Of course, Gable Stevenson was a surprise, and then just having everybody there. Jalen Fuller, I think he was supposed to be the main event, but either way, it ended up being a really good night. And of course, it was a little bit of a shocker when the original opponent didn't end up being, but thank God and thank everybody who did everything in the background just to kind of make sure that these fights still go on regardless of what the circumstance may be.
Emmanuel Sanchez, 35 fight vet. I know him well. I interviewed him with Bellator, knew him a staple of seeing him there on Spike TV, on Paramount. Like a name like Emmanuel Sanchez. Did you recognize that name? And how did it hit you hearing that you'd get a guy that's recognizable like this?
To be honest, I didn't recognize the name, but once I found out who it was, I knew it was definitely a respectable opponent and just somebody that's definitely just an experience and a veteran and in the sport. And of course, I know he's got just a bunch of accolades and a lot of experience. And it was definitely something I'm ready for the challenge and ready to get in that ring.
Okay, well, you might not have known him, but throughout that entire camp, and now you have a second camp. How much footage, how well have you gotten to know Emmanuel Sanchez as an MMA fighter?
So me personally, I like to watch the opponent's footage maybe towards the beginning of the camp just to kind of get an idea of who they are and what they're about. And then towards that, I just like to focus on my own game plan and my own strategies. Maybe find some training partners that have similar style or body types as them, so that way it can help prepare. But I'm not one of those guys who's really big on watching the opponent's film just repeatedly, repeatedly, repeatedly. I think that it gets into the fighter's head and it kind of takes them away from all their skills, and they're just more kind of worried about what the other opponent's going to do rather than what they're capable of doing.
Just wondering, so do you go back and look at some of the Bellator stuff, or do you just concentrate on kind of the APFC stuff, some of those last couple fights?
Yeah, usually this is how I like to break it down. I know everybody's different, but towards the beginning of the camp, once we figure out who the opponent's going to be, I like to look at their fights or whatever they have available and kind of just study them, see what they prefer. What's their go-to? Are they more of a ground guy? Are they a stand-up guy? Are they a finisher? Are they a dog? Are they, you look at all the different scenarios and capabilities. And then, of course, the more film, the better, because then you get to see how they operate in different situations and then also against different body types and opponents. And then once that's kind of out of the way, I just like to focus on, me, my personal, and me getting better. And then maybe every now and then kind of look at the tape again just to kind of say like, oh, okay. I thought of this cool combo that, I know they have a tendency to maybe drop this hand or maybe step this direction or blah, 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 whatever. And I just thought of this cool combo that I might be able to throw. And I just want to look at the video again to see if, yep, I think that'll work. That's going to land. That's kind of how I kind of picture it.
Do you feel that Emmanuel's style is comparable to anybody that you fought before or anybody that you train with?
I think that's a very difficult question because, of course, nobody I fought has this experience like he does. This guy's been on Spike TV. He's got like 30 fights, and just to compare him to any of these other guys is not comparable. But I've definitely fought many guys that are dogs, regardless of their record or their experience. And of course, there's just a bunch of journeymen that they don't really fight. But it's like, man, you see them at the gyms. They're like, you could have been a star if you just had some discipline or focus or whatever the case may be. So I've definitely been around high-level people. This is definitely going to be a test, and it's a test that I'm ready to take.
You don't have to get into the game plan, but does it feel like, is it maturing? Is it evolving from what you were thinking for the first fight? Or is this just more reinforcing what was already planned for the first fight?
When you always have a change of the opponent, because my coach and I were really good on the game plan, right? Where they're just like, okay, we're going to structure it specifically for this opponent, and so when you have a change in opponent, it does kind of throw things out of whack. But I would like to say that the game plan really hasn't changed. It's more reinforced and doubled down, and kind of just working on a lot of the areas that could be better and polished a little more.
We are getting towards fight week, and news breaks. Emmanuel Sanchez is out. Where were you, and how did everything play out from your perspective? How do you find out? Medical emergency? Did you think the fight's canceled? Like what happened to James when Emmanuel fight falls out?
So we were already at the hotel. It was like no, I think it was like 3 days before the weigh-ins or something like that. And we had just checked into our hotel room. And then, I got the phone call. I remember because I was still kind of working. I was working and stuff like that. I was on my laptop. And then they said, James, we got bad news. And I remember I just turned around on my chair and I said, let me guess. And they're like, yep, this opponent dropped. And I don't know if you know much about my background, but you could even just see on my Tapology throughout my professional career, I've had so many people drop for whatever reason, some of them valid, some of them not. And of course, this one was a valid medical reason, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's like, man, what a bummer, what a waste. And we didn't give up though. I told myself, it was like, don't panic, don't spiral. It was just kind of just like, okay, who can we call? Who could we call? Who do we talk to? Who can we call that, is certified or has all their credentials and can make 155 within the next 3 days and still be a good fight and a good opponent and still put on a show, especially for something like APFC. We want to make sure that everyone gets their money's worth and that the production doesn't suffer.
When it lands on Jess Martinez, you were both amateurs, I believe, around the same time. Were you already familiar with Jess with this fight coming together?
So I knew of him. I didn't know him that well, but anybody in this New Mexico area knew him because I started my first amateur fight was back in 2014. And so, of course, anybody who had been in the region knew that he was the guy, right? That he was really good at jiu-jitsu. He was undefeated, and he was from a very top team in school in Santa Fe, I think it is. And of course, like everybody knew who he was. And so I remember when they offered him, they said, okay, well, we can get you this guy. He might say yes, give it till the next day. And as a fighter, that's the most stressful thing. When you've cut all this weight, you get mentally prepared, and then maybe just like 2 or 3 days before they tell you the fight's not going to happen, and then you're kind of just like, well, fuck it. Excuse my French. I was like, well, bump it. I guess we're just gonna go to Papa Do's, I guess, like whatever, let's eat, And they're like, wait, hold off on eating because there's still a chance. And then there's always that frustration, like, I swear, if this doesn't go through, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, but no, when I saw him, I knew exactly. I said, wait a minute, I know this guy. I don't know him very well. We've never fought or we've never trained or anything like that, but I knew of him just being in the area as an amateur fighter way back when.
We get to the fight. You're both able to make weight. The title fight's still on. Jess comes out and gives it his all in that first round. Was that kind of what you expected? Short notice opponent, and he had also been coming off quite a layoff.
I knew that he had a jiu-jitsu background, and that was where he specialized in. So I kind of figured he wanted to take it to the floor. I think I got overzealous and a little eager with that jumping knee, and then that it just when we went down to the floor, I was kind of like, oh man, and then he got my back right away, and I was like, oh man, this. And I was like, okay, just stay calm, don't panic, don't worry. I didn't necessarily feel like I was in too much danger, but of course it's a bad position. The first thing I thought in my mind was, okay, you might have lost this round. You're gonna have to fight your way back. Just work your way, get your space when you can. And I know he had a really tight body lock from the back, and I was against the cage, and you need space to get out of something like that. So he did a really good job at making sure that I was pinned down and that I wasn't able to really work anything.
You have an Ezekiel, you have a Darius choke on your resume. Is there an extra, though, satisfaction on submitting a guy that's known as a ground guy?
To be honest, I was a little bummed because I know that everybody was talking about that extra knockout bonus and we want knockouts. And then, if you saw that card, there was just knockout after knockout after knockout. And I was like, I want a knockout, especially since my last fight was a knockout. So I was like, I'm ready, I'm eager. And then, you know, I got the submission and I was a little down at first. I was like, damn, dude, I didn't get the knockout, man. That sucks. But then I had some guys from back home. All the jujitsu guys were like, whoa, dude, you tapped out a black belt. That's amazing. Da, da, da. And then everybody else was kind of just like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, okay, cool. It's just a little thing. Just submitted a black belt MMA fight.
Right.
I got this big old gold belt, one on UFC Fight Pass, and just kind of cool.
Yeah, it's more just like kind of just like we know you could do better. We've seen you do better. There's more just like it's always kind of like then that's where you have your real friends and you have the real people that are there to support you because you know what I mean. Like I remember I had this wrestling coach when I was in high school. He says, "You still ain't shit." You know, that was his like favorite go to, and so that was always the model, right? It was like you did good, but still ain't shit.
Okay, so what do you need to do to be better, to be a little less shit?
Well, a knockout would make that better, but I'm pissed.
A knockout would make that better.
Yeah, right.
After the fight, you win the belt. Is there any conversation? Was there any talk of, hey, if we can make it, we're gonna remake the Emmanuel Sanchez fight? Or was there just let's celebrate the moment?
I pretty much remember from my victory speech that was pretty much what I said was just you know Emmanuel Sanchez called him out, just said that this could have been us. You missed out on a great card. I've never been to an APFC promotion, but if it's anything like that, of course I'd want to fight again. And I've been telling all my local friends and anybody I know that if you can get on that card like that, it's just amazing the way they do everything. Like all props to Anthony Pettis and his crew. They do such a great job. And then just to have all of like the celebrity guests that were there, like Mighty Mouse, Chihuihuis, and I know there was so many other people there that's just slipping my mind right now. But I think he really missed out on a good opportunity. And I'm pretty sure I said that as soon as I got the belt was just like we could run it back, whether it be February, March, if you want to do it in, because I know that they have something coming up in Wisconsin or New Mexico. Like you just tell me when and where. And so it just so happened the cards laid out that we're going to have it in Albuquerque again.
Does it feel like a missing piece of the puzzle to get this win, to put up a victory over a veteran like that, to grab the attention of the next level?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is definitely a test of kind of like, because there's levels to this stuff. And like that question you said earlier, like, of course, this guy's just on a different caliber. You can't disrespect and just say like, oh yeah, he's just like this 0-0, where it's like, no, not at all. He's a veteran. And, you know, I know that I'm ready for that next level. And so we've just been training so hard and we've been training so long for this. And to get this opportunity, especially when it almost slipped from our hands and now it's right back here, it's just amazing. You know, God is good.
I want to say, looking at your topology, it was back that if it wasn't the first amateur fight in 2014, it was the second one in 2027 that they got listed the first time that I got to see you. And you were able to have a consistency and you were able to perform a lot as an amateur. Has the pro career at all just been a letdown with the 9 fights falling out, the 2021 and 2023 where it seemed like you were clawing to be active?
Yeah, you hit it on the nail, man. It's a tough sport and there's a ton of sacrifice and that's what like I said earlier, there's people who don't show for legitimate reasons, medical or whatever, and there's other people that they just get cold feet and it's very frustrating. It's like, why'd you even sign up to be a fighter if you're scared to fight? And going back to what you said, I've been fighting since 2014 and there's always going to be politics at play or whatever that prevent like you getting the fight that you need. But of course, that 2019, 2020, during COVID, it really put a stop at a lot of like, you know, gyms, training, and all sorts of stuff. And then finally, 2021, I'm able to get my first pro fight. And then the first pro fight I'm supposed to get, the guy bails the day of. And then it was 2 hours before the match. He basically pulled out, and it was just like, wow, are you serious? And then you look on my Tapology, and that doesn't even list all of the ones that the people pulled out. And it kind of puts it in this like, you know, is it sometimes you kind of ask yourself, is it worth fighting for? And then just to get to this level, it's good to look back and say, fuck yeah, it was worth it.
What kept you going? Fights are falling out, but you keep signing up for them. They're not happening, and you keep sacrificing time. You keep cutting weight. Why?
I'm fortunate to have a good support team. Like honestly, all kudos to my coach Ari Gomboa because I remember especially it was around that 2020 time period. It was kind of like, you know what, like it just seems like maybe it's not in the stars or whatever you want to say, blah blah blah. And he was kind of just like, no, dude, like I've known you since you were 15. You've always had the talent. You've always been something. You know what I mean? Like uh, we gotta get you around the right people that are there to support you. And unfortunately, not everybody's your friend, right? Whether they put on the mask or not. And so it was good to kind of just basically just say, you know what, let's just rebuild. And then especially after that COVID, there was a lot of change of hearts from so many people who were so diehard, but it kind of, I think challenging times really exposes like the truth to the scenario, right? Uh, well, I forget that saying where it's like illusions fade when feelings rise, right? And so we were able to kind of just regroup. I remember our first fight together was a fight for LFA in my hometown, and I remember that was so exciting and stuff like that. And it was just we just kept the ball rolling from there, and well, obviously it's been doing well.
With all the fights that have fallen out and unusual circumstances, because there's been more than a few, do you feel like it's almost because you're a 6'3" lightweight that you just intimidate some of these guys showing up? Like, what did I get myself into?
He's 6'3" and black. Hell no. No. I mean, like, I'm sure that has a lot to do with it too. But at the same time, it's like if you're ready or not, and then it's like, let's go. And so I like to see it as kind of no matter who you're fighting, you got to take them seriously and you got to respect them. You got to think of them like this could be the next like John Jones one day. You never know. And that's why I like fighting in sports like that because no matter what body type you are, there's gonna be a style for you that works.
What is it in the more than 12 years that you've been competing now in MMA? What is it that has kept you involved in this journey, that's kept you thriving, that's kept you associated with it, building goals and in love with it?
I've just always been in love with competition since I was little. I've definitely been that guy. I remember I started wrestling when no, first I started karate when I was 6. Then I did wrestling when I was 10, competed all the way up, and then I started taekwondo when I was like 16. And then I had my first fight and I realized like, damn, dude, like I suck. I need to learn so much other things. And so that's when I started learning jujitsu and judo and Muay Thai and all this. And personally, I love the aspect of learning. I love it when you're just enveloped in a room with people who are on the same journey and have the same seriousness and have the same attitude, or maybe not same but similar, where it's just like, hey man, like I want to go places and I don't want to settle for just being a local or gym hero. It's like I want to make it to UFC one day. I don't want to be one of those people that says I could have been great. And it's like, yeah, it's easy to say I could have been something, but it's harder to say I did it and this is the results. And I respect those people way more than the I could have, would have, should have.
6-fight win streak. 4 of them are finishes. I think 4 of them have been title fights. APFC title defense is coming up. Does it feel close to that call, close to that goal?
Absolutely. I think the camera got glitched up a little bit. I think you were saying, does it feel close? Does it feel good to be so close to making it to, let's say, UFC or something like that? Yeah, absolutely. And with a fighter like Emmanuel Sanchez, it's kind of like how anybody who's able to get in a ring with that guy and then also give a great performance and then let's say like a finish or whatever, like how could they not be at that level? How could they not?
Such a veteran competitor. What do you envision for how this fight looks like March 22nd?
What do I envision? My hand raised and then me basically saying UFC, let's go, contender, or even something like, I also want to go to Japan. So if UFC or someone like Wizens offers any Japan promotions, let's go.
With the streak you're on, with how impressive you've been, does it feel like just a win is good enough? Or is there still feel like there has to be an emphasis to impress, to make a statement?
That's tough. I want to say you have to make a statement, because I've seen so many fighters where they do the whole just lay and pray and they get their ass whooped and their face is all bloody and they're all beat up and their opponent is just crystal clean, but you know what I mean? But they controlled and they dominated the whole round, which means they won the fight. Like that's boring, bro. You can't take it to a decision and all you did was tackle them and hug them the whole time. Like, and I come from a wrestling background. Like, if you're gonna take him down, you better submit him. You better do some ground and pound. There better be some action. At the end of the day, this is entertainment. Like Gladiator, that's one of my favorite movies. Are you not entertained? Like and I'm guilty of it too. I've had a fight before too where I wrestled the guy and he was just a monster, man. I'm trying to submit him and he just wouldn't go down. And then like the crowd's booing because it's just so boring. And like that's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for a shallow victory. I'm not here to get my ass whooped and just say I held them. But like, yes, I hope I won because the judges like me better than the other guy. When in reality, like that guy's a completely better fighter. Like nobody wants that.
APFC 22 back in New Mexico. We get James Pleasant on the card. We get 2 title fights. James Pleasant, Jalen Fuller again on the card, both defending. And if nothing else, we're at least getting to see you be consistent. So that's definitely on the bright side. James might have froze again. And yes, everybody, I was going to get to the question that's all on all of our mind, and I'll ask him later. I wonder if he really does play that piano in the background. But yeah, James is frozen at this point, so we're going to remove him from the conversation. It was great getting to talk with James Pleasant, APFC lightweight champion, Emmanuel Sanchez, veteran versus prospect. We've got the size disparity. James at 6'3", an imposing figure in the weight class. Add him right back, see if it unfroze. Oh wait, hey, it unfroze. There's James. So before I let you go, I do need to know, do you play the piano in the background?
This is not my piano, but I play the keyboard. I started off as a bass player. I got some blues for you. What do you want to hear?
See, so you do have the eclectic behind you?
Yeah, I remember I was little, I wanted to be a little R&B singer and stuff, but then I realized I was like, nah, I can't do that.
Well, if you got something ready, play it. Go for it. We'll listen.
It was like little secret.
Awesome. What other hitting talents do we have from James Pleasant?
I mean, like, I'm an engineer. I told you I was in music a little bit. I do a lot of local acting and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm definitely one of those people. You got a hobby and you're willing to teach. Like, let's do it. I like fun. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, I went through like an archery phase. I went through a freaking like we're making jewelry and finding rocks and like breaking them down, shaving them down, and all that stuff like that. Like, man, when you ask my friends, they're like, "What the fuck is this fool doing now?" And it's just like, "Oh, it's fun. It's fun. You want to learn something new? It's fun. Come on, like it's the new crack."
So you've written your own songs before?
Yeah, just there's only one that's been out on Spotify and stuff like that. I probably haven't paid for the little that Astro Kid membership, so it's probably not there. I'll have to pay my little annual membership so someone could watch it. But yeah, it's. And then I remember I did this one short film when I was in college, and it was a parody on the what do you call them? Damn, I can't remember the 5 heartbeats. I can't even remember what they're called, but basically it was like a little musical. It was funny. It was just like it was a comedy.
And when you
my song was called Prostitution Magic.
And when you said acting, are we talking about theater on stage? Are we talking about YouTube? Like, film. Where can we see this acting?
Film. Man, like it's like my coach is gonna hate me. He hates when I talk about this, but I want to say it anyway. But I was with a group of local artists, and we had our own TV show on the CW El Paso Las Cruces. It was called Dolos. Man, I was the main character. I was it was like a cowboy bebop kind of thing, and I was the cowboy, and I was stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, and all that good stuff. Like, and then what I was talking about was called 2.5 Blacks. I'm sure you could just like look it up on YouTube or even on Spotify or whatever. And it was basically like we had the drug addict, then we had the womanizer, then we had the church boy. And because I played the womanizer, we had to make up our songs and stuff. Well, Keith Fingers, the producer, made the song, but it was called Prostitution Magic. Man, I'll say that was a good one. That was a banger right there.
budding entertainer and superstar, not just badass MMA fighter, APFC lightweight champion, APFC 22 March 22nd, is Letta Resort and Casino. Get to see one of his many talents on display. James Pleasant, it was an absolute pleasure getting to chat with you tonight.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much, Micah, and thank you to everybody for watching. Y'all take care, and we'll see you on March 22nd.
I'm glad we got James back in. I would not have loved the interview as much if we didn't know now that he was an actor, a musician, and got all that extra info. That was awesome that it unfroze. This weekend, it's Valentine's Day. Not a lot of fights going on out there, but there is Karate Combat 59. Y'all watch that on YouTube Friday from Miami. Uriah Hall, Jaden Eggnog, they are going to do battle in a grudge match women's strawweight title fight, and not to mention Jackson Wink's own Diego Brandao, the Tough Enough featherweight champion, with his promotional debut. We're going to get Diego on soon because I know he has some big plans to go back to Russia. I guess that's where his MMA career is leading. After his Karate Combat debut this weekend, there's also one championship fight night. MMA prospects in action include the 7-0 Gabriela Fujimoto, one of the few LFA Brazilian prospects I've ever seen end up in one championship instead of being in the UFC. She is something dynamic to watch. Magomed Ankalaev versus Lucas Gabriel at 170. Big consequences there for the welterweight division in one championship, and maybe one day seeing one of them in the UFC. Canadian Ben Tyon training out of Colorado, another massive heavyweights. We always need more heavyweights. And if you're into the European MMA scene, Octagon 84 from the Czech Republic this weekend. A couple things going on. Zuffa Boxing on Sunday with Njape. You have the first announcement from Dana White came out today that March 8th, there will be the crowning of the first Zuffa Boxing champion. I believe that same weekend, there's going to be a power slap event. New Mexico's own Jamie Hinshaw is going to be returning to the podium, stepping up to slap. Taking this weekend off. Whole bunch of action to come next weekend. BKB is back. The UFC. This weekend, ESPN Radio Albuquerque, 1017 The Team. Join me Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Going to be talking to Bellator vet, Westside Power Gym owner, Rocky Ramirez. Look forward to that conversation. You need photos, you need a commercial done, any sort of media, hit up Robbie Ray Images, Robbie Ray Media. We got a lot going on with that property to help build your business. Barbers are us for the beard bomb. Barber Gates Fades. BarberGatesFades.net is how you book your appointment. Walk-ins are welcomes. You know you need a cut before Valentine's Day. That's 100 Coors Boulevard Northwest, Suite 107. Thank you, Angel Gallegos, for joining us. He has that March 14th title fight, Las Cruces. Anthony Hudson, appreciate you and everything you're doing for the combat sports community in southern New Mexico and keeping that Alamogordo area alive. Not to mention, one more time, huge appreciation and shout out. Thank you to our final guest of the evening, who was in the main event spot, James Pleasant. His APFC title defense coming up, I believe, next week here, we already have a full lineup being booked. We are going to have Jimmy Dukes. Wanted to hear what his thoughts were from Battle and Basin and what's been going on in El Paso, Las Cruces MMA. Taylor Starling, who is live at Knucklemania. She's going to be here to help us talk about BKFC and update us on what's going on with her situation on Misfits Boxing. Not to mention, we have a top amateur who's about to be making his pro debut. We're going to be referring out to Diego Brandao, BKB, BKFC. Hopefully we got some great stuff for you next week. MMA After Hours is up. Pro Wrestling After Hours is up. You find both of them like you find this show and the Cage Minds Fight Hour at cageminds.com. Shout out Talk ABQ for everything you guys do and helping us make this happen. 2 hours flies by when you're having fun and talking some fights. Thank you to everybody for watching. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. The views are great. Clicking those couple buttons means so much more and help us grow what we're doing here. Thank you and have a great night.